You're watching Moonstruck TV. So I'm just going to quickly introduce a little bit about how I work. I'm really going to focus today on Akashic Records and past lives, and that's going to be my topic for today, past lives. But what I want to do is get you to really think about your life and try to uncover some of the past lives that are actually, all the clues are sitting around you, and we'll go through that in a moment. So I'm just going to remind you, if you want to get hold of me for a private reading, you can do that through my website, which is www.modern-mystic.co.uk, or you can find me on Facebook under Mystic Saira and Modern Mystic. So plenty of ways for you to get hold of me. Plus, I do a free live session every Sunday night at 7. So keep your eyes peeled for that. Just join my page, which is Mystic Saira, and you can get involved with that. Okay, so let's start by talking about past lives. So I want to really go back right to the beginning. So this is before we are incarnated. So just imagine for me that you have had many, many past lives. And your soul, before it's born, has the knowledge of all of that. Now, why do we lose all of that knowledge? Well, when the soul is incarnated, it loses some of those memories, or most of those memories, as it compresses itself into the very small human form. And this is why we tend to lose a lot of our past life history, memories and knowledge. Which is a bit of a pain, really, but we do have our life purpose to carry us through. Now, with some people, particularly children, they still have past life knowledge. Okay, and what you'll find, and I'll give you an example here of my own daughter, what you'll find is that some children are able to recall some of their previous lives. Some people have night terrors or, full-on memories and draw pictures and things like that of previous experiences they have had. And like I said, I'm going to go into a little bit of a story here. When my daughter was around 3 or 4 years old, we were on holiday away and we heard an ambulance, and she turned around to me and she said, "Oh, I heard that noise when I died." And I said, "Well, what do you mean when you died?" And she said, "Well, when I was an old lady before, my lifetime before." And she was so matter of fact, it was as though she looked at me as though I was completely stupid for not knowing. And I asked her a few questions. She told me how she died, etc., which I think, from what I can gather, it was, by the sounds of it, heart failure at the time. But she was very matter of fact. And I mean, she doesn't remember that now, because as we grow older, we tend to lose those memories. However, like I did say, there are clues around us, and our soul is constantly trying to remind us of our past lives. So these are some of the things that you can look at. So when we are born with a life purpose. So it's not just one life purpose. There'll be many, many, many different things that we have to achieve in our lifetime. So it doesn't matter whether we achieve those things at the beginning, middle or end, as long as we do. So never think that you have one chance or one stab at it, or there's just one thing that you need to do. A lot of what you've already done in your life will be already involved, you would have already completed that. Now, some of the things to focus on, so it's not just your job that you need to focus on when we're looking at your life purpose, but also things that challenges, blocks, things like that. All of those things will be part of your life purpose, and again can start to give you some clues as to what your previous challenges have been. So let's have a little bit of a look in your own life of how we can start to identify some of our past life history. Okay, so you can look at things like that you are drawn to, positive things, such as perhaps you're drawn to a certain time in history. Perhaps you are drawn to a certain place in the world. Perhaps you are drawn to a certain culture. Perhaps you have a natural talent for something, but you are not, you can't define that. You can't say, well, that's because my mother does this or what have you. So those are some of the things you can look at. And on the opposite side of the scale, you can look at unexplained fears and phobias, and things like that are really troubling for you, that you can't seem to get to the root of or the bottom of. These are some of the things that you can actually focus on, and will give you those clues when we are looking for our past lives. Now, another thing to remember is that when we are incarnated with like a soul group or a soul family. Now, this is a large group of souls. Okay, so it's not just perhaps your immediate family or what have you. It will be those significant people that have really impacted your life. Now, what you can actually have a look and you can identify with these people is difficult or unusual relationship dynamics. Now, I'll give you an example here. Perhaps you have a parent that acts a little bit more like a child, because sometimes what happens is that we carry over previous relationship dynamics into this life. And it's always important when we're looking at our soul growth, it will be those relationships that are not the ones that are all loving and all wonderful and all encompassing, even though those are very important, but it'll be the relationships and the people that most push our buttons, that we have had the most issues and problems with, that you actually have a stronger soul connection with. Now, also in addition to that, so there will be many people that you will meet throughout your lifetime that you will have a soul connection to, some of which will be your soulmate, some of which will be a twin flame, and others will just be there for a part of your journey. Now, what we also need to look at are, we have another soul group that come in and operate as spiritual guides. And this is what I tend to find when I'm working with somebody. Quite often, if I'm tuning into their spiritual guide, I do establish a past life link there. And what will happen is perhaps in the next incarnation, you might step in and be their spiritual guide. So just imagine you will have a soul group, a soul family that comes in and works. You all work together for all of your objectives. It's a big plan that goes on. Some will be incarnate with you, and some will be working behind the scenes as a spirit guide. So there's plenty for you to look at. Now, focusing a little bit more on those difficult dynamics. Once you start looking at those in your own life, what you're going to find is that you're going to be able to understand and see in other people's lives, perhaps a friend that's talking to you about a difficult relationship, and you'll be able to see, I think we've got a past life issue. So why not give that a go? Have a look at your own life. Have a look at what your strengths are, what your weaknesses are, what you're drawn to, what you're repelled by, because all of those things will start to shape and mold and make sense in terms of your past life history. So do have fun with that. Okay, I am about to go on to my first caller. So let's just see who we have here. And we have, is it Janani in Chennai, India? Are you there, Janani?
Yes.
Ah, wonderful. We have you. Okay, do you have a question for me today?
Hello.
Hello, do you have a question for me today? Welcome to the show.
Yeah, I need a healing for my skin.
Can you say that again? You cut out a little. You need a reading for?
No, I need to know about the healing for my skin issue.
Oh, okay. You have a skin issue and you'd like to know what would be beneficial for that. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. Let me just have a look and see what I get around this. Okay. Right. So as I'm focusing in on your energy, when I look at anything to do with anything to do with the skin. And what I'm being shown here is like the skin is the thing that kind of protects us from the rest of the world. And because you're experiencing problems within that, I feel like you need to be looking at your own sense of protection and your own sort of vulnerability, if that makes sense. And what I'm also being shown here, being drawn directly into the solar plexus chakra as well, as though there is real heightened sensitivity here with you. Now, are you quite a sensitive person in general, emotionally?
Sorry?
Are you quite a sensitive person emotionally in general?
I couldn't get you.
I said, are you a sensitive person? Are you quite an emotional person yourself?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay. Because this is what I feel it actually is the root of your problem. So what I'm being shown here is like you have been trying to treat your condition topically, in the sense of applying, different things to the, I kind of get skin eruptions here. This is what I'm being told. And what I'm being shown here is actually if you focus a little bit more, I'm being told here, work more internally. And I'm being shown here actually what you're eating as well. I feel like that needs to be looked at as well, because I feel like it's like your entire balance is all over the place. Okay. I feel here when I'm looking at, I'm also being shown here past life situation as well. Bear with me. I'm just trying to focus in on that because there is something coming in here around this. I'm being told here there's a past life situation. Again, it is affecting the skin and there's been some sort of carryover. And this is why I feel it's been very difficult for you to clear this condition completely. I feel that if you can tackle the emotion, I keep on being shown salt water as well, to use salt water, is only in a way that is comfortable, my guides are saying, but to use salt water as well to kind of cleanse the system. But I feel that you need also grounding and you also need protection as well. And what I'm being drawn here towards saying here is to perhaps get a piece of black tourmaline for you to wear. Okay, as a way of kind of stabilizing your energy. I feel like your solution is going to be a little bit of trial and error until you kind of get yourself back into what feels like a fighting fit condition. But does that make sense to you?
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Take care.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. You have a lovely day. Okay, I'm going to go straight on to my next caller, and we have Megan from Cornwall in Ontario, Canada. Hi, Megan. Are you there?
Hello.
Hello. Hi, how are you? Welcome to my show.
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm really well, thank you. Really, really well. It's lovely to hear your voice, and it's lovely to work with you tonight. Do you have a question for me at all?
I just want to know about love in my future. And my future, sorry. And
your future? What was the
about
last word? Okay. Right. Okay, I'm going to shuffle the cards for you and let's just see what we have coming in, and see if there are any blocks around that, because my feeling here is that I don't know, it's like I feel like I've got you really sort of like struggling to get this element of your life right. Okay. And I am being shown, have you been on your own for some time now?
Yes. For about a year.
Yeah, because my feet, and but the thing is, it's like what I'm being shown here is that there has been quite a significant time here where you've been, how can I put it? You've been in the energy of the lack of love. Does that make sense? So even if you were in a relationship, there is a sense of feeling a lack of love. Can you relate to that? Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is, excuse me, this is the area that I feel is almost like it's stubborn. Do you know what I mean? I feel like that needs to shift, and it's like you are yet to wake up to, because what I'm being told here by my guides, there is a minor tweak, a minor shift that you need to make to open that door to allow love to come flooding in. And I feel like it's coming in any time now. And particularly when I'm looking at your cards, I'm being shown here the month of March. But to avoid going into another relationship that is displaying a lack of love, or how can I put it? I'm getting like disappointment and it not resulting in what you were promised it would be. I feel that this needs to shift. Okay, so what my guides are suggesting, because they never tell you what to do, what they are suggesting here is to really practice far more self-love activities. Okay, to really bring that in. So this is all about your self-worth, and when you are at a stage that you are able to love quite freely, is what my guides are saying, then I feel like I've got that relationship coming in. Now the timeline for that does feel like it's around March, April time, because I've got a lot of elements around that. Now what I'm also being shown here, this is really good because this is quite a strong soul connection that's coming in for you. It's not too long to wait. I feel like this is the year you're going to crack this monster of a problem. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Yeah. And what I'm being shown here is a very important soul connection coming in for you, who you are meant to be with and who you have been with as a life partner before. Okay, I'm being shown here like a past life connection with it. However, it's a relationship that's all about balance. It's all about give and take. It's all about working together. And that's going to be one of the most important aspects. And I think that's going to be one of the things that really strikes you about this particular person. I feel that you will be able to see, it's like you'll be able to, because you're quite intuitive yourself. And I feel that you're going to be able to see a future with this person as though it's etched in your mind, if that makes sense. It's like you'll be able to see like flashes, as though you're seeing like photographs of where you will live and this, that and the other. It's like it's all opening up for you. And talking about home.
Can you tell me about him?
Yes, absolutely. Okay, so quite a dynamic person, I feel. Now, what I am being shown with this, he's got a little bit of a rags to riches story here going on in his past. So I feel like he's managed to, manifest his way through life. Okay, so I feel like he's got quite a lot of depth. He's got quite a lot of, it's like his philosophical viewpoints are really quite intriguing here for you. He's a very interesting character, but I get him being very charismatic as well. I feel like he's definitely a looker. I feel like he's very, very attractive. And I feel that he chooses his relationships very, very carefully. It's not something that he rushes into. He's not a player. He's not somebody that serial dates or anything like that. Okay. I feel, looking at him, that we've got quite a strong sort of like fire sign energy, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. I feel like he's got a lot of get up and go. He's got a lot of energy behind him. I've also got the soulmate card here with this, so I don't know whether you've actually given up on finding somebody that's absolutely perfect for you, but I feel that this is what's coming in. And it's almost as though what my guides are saying here is almost like backtracking and saying that if you open that element of love just within yourself, in your life, in what you're doing right now, then what will come in for you is something that is going to exceed your expectations. I do feel like I've got brown hair with this person. I feel like I've got like darker hair. And I also feel, darker hair. Yeah, so brown or darker. And I'm also getting sort of, I feel like I've got brown eyes, really, really lovely brown eyes. But I'm being shown here this relationship is one that you, in a sense, manifest yourself. So I feel like you've got it very clear in your mind, the sort of person that you are looking for. And this has really been shaped and molded by the previous relationships and learning what you don't want. Okay, so this is what I feel your journey has been up until this point. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Have I met him before?
Let me have a look. Let's just see what I get with this. My feeling is that you haven't. My feeling is that you haven't. I feel that if you had met him, excuse me, if you had met him already, you would be in a relationship with him right now. You know,
I haven't talked to him over the phone, perhaps. Say there is a boy.
I don't feel. No, I'm being told here, if you like, your prize, if you like, is yet to come, because at the moment what I'm being shown here is you actually waiting, waiting for that person to come in. I mean, there is a possibility that you might have spoken to him, but my feeling here is that that's not the case. I'm picking up like quite a strong, very, very strong connection with it, as though you would feel something even from speaking to them. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. So I definitely wouldn't rule out anybody that perhaps you're talking to at the moment, but I'd still keep everything, it's like all the doors open for March, April time, because that's where I feel like I've got that relationship coming in for you. It does look as though it's a lifelong relationship, because how can I put it? What the cards are saying here is, the time of you kind of planning things on your own and feeling as though you're very much isolated. I feel here is coming to an end, and where perhaps you weren't sure whether you would have that kind of committed relationship. What I am being shown here is that commitment coming straight in for you. It does feel as though there's been quite a lot of need for you to do a lot of inner work. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, and I feel like most of that work has been done. I've been told here that last year was it was about letting go. Does that make sense for you? So you've done that. You've done all the letting go. You've let go on many, many different levels. Even in your dream state, I feel that you've been letting things go. Does that make sense? So I feel that this year for you is about letting things in, not letting things go.
Okay.
Okay. Is there anything else you'd like to ask?
What about my future, career-wise?
I'll have a quick look at that. I only got about a minute or so left, but I will have a quick look and see what I get around your career. Right, okay, so what I am being shown here is there's a change of direction coming in for you. I am being drawn towards in 2 months' time, where I feel like I've got another opportunity heading your way. But what I would like to say here is, if something comes up that is a bit of a change that's perhaps not, it's definitely not within your comfort zone, I feel like I want to say go for it, grasp it, because I feel that that's where the development and the progression is coming in. But like I said, I'm getting the 2 month mark with that for you. Okay. Right, I'm going to have to leave it there. My show is just about to close. So thank you so much, Megan, for coming through. So goodbye for now.
Okay, goodbye.
Bye. Okay, so thank you so much for phoning in. I hope you found today's show interesting. Please do pay attention to your current life and see if you can dig up any clues in terms of your past lives. I would love to hear about them. So if you want to get in contact with me, you can do through my website, which is www.modern-mystic.co.uk, or through my Facebook page, Mystic Saira or Modern Mystic. So I'm going to wish you all a wonderful week ahead. Hope you have a wonderful time. Please stay tuned to many more wonderful spiritual shows, and I shall see you the same time next week.